Like most of us, Greg Souders is not a fan of the YouTube comment section.
There's something magical about comment sections. It's like all the losers just like get around and they like group up.
So naturally, I flew across the country to Maryland to ask him in person to respond to some comments on a previous interview that I did with him, talking about how one of his star students, Deandre Corbe, won the West Coast trials.
Oh, I don't mind. I know what the comment section looks like.
This particular comment section is so riled up because at Greg's school, they don't teach any techniques at all. They don't drill anything. It's called the ecological approach.
I'm being very specific. We don't drill. They are getting caught up in semantics, not me. Think of how bothered they are by the language.
This is obviously quite the divergence from traditional BJJ training, so people get quite passionate on the topic. And Greg often finds himself at the pointy ends of their pitchforks.
But why? Why are they saying that? They're in the YouTube comments of somebody else's work. All these people in the comments section seem to know everything about everything. Their opinion doesn't mean anything. What do they know about manipulation of human behavior?
Join us as Greg helps educate the YouTube comment section and bust some myths about this training approach.
They didn't come to me as elite grapplers. They came to me as capable grapplers. This is a straw man they're setting up to validate whatever they're saying. Not every school is meant for everybody. Not every method is meant for anybody. And I actually believe that. I think that all learning is self-learning.
And buckle up, because it's going to get a little wild.
Oh, wait, sorry, this isn't a compliment.
Never mind. The samurai mentality. What the? What a joke. My phone number's on the website. I'd love for you to teach me how to really do things. That'd be great.
We're gonna go to the YouTube comment section.
My favorite.
Oh, wait.
YouTube and Reddit. Let's go.
YouTube is much better than Reddit, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of strong opinions in the YouTube comment section on the interview we did, so
Sure,
I'm just gonna pick them out and
Yeah,
respond
man.
to them. Yeah.
Go nuts.
Cool. At RageNG says, stop drilling is clickbait, it's semantics. They're still drilling, it's just better designed drills. Short-sighted games are drills. Constraint-led exercises are still drills. We've been using alive drills for decades. If you want to say stop using dead drills with no pressure or objectives, okay, that'd be fine.
Good. Thank you for your analysis. I appreciate it. It doesn't matter what we call it then. Who cares? Like, why call it one thing or another? Drilling, not drilling, dead drilling, why call it? I'm being very specific. We don't drill, all right? We constrain tasks, and we do it variably. That's it. It's that simple. Call it whatever the you want, but that's what we do. And we don't consider what we do drilling because it doesn't fit the parameters of a drill. The thing is, they are getting caught up in semantics, not me. Think of how bothered they are by the language. It's this, it's that, it's always been done. We've always been doing it. Dude, who cares? You know, right. Who cares?
At BJJ Joe says, it'll add more validity to his training method when he brings someone from white to black belt that is at an elite level. The Corbe brothers came to him as elite grapplers.
Yeah, they didn't come to me as elite grapplers. They came to me as capable grapplers. We are taking Deandre in the elite level. They are growing tremendously fast. So luckily, they came to me with things that I could use to help make them elite. They came to me with lots of action capacity. Those two guys are athletes. They're both also dedicated to their craft. They will do anything in their power to get to where they're going. They're great students. So what they came to me with, the things that were built upon them by their previous school, I was able to manipulate and utilize to get them to where they are now. But it's the marriage of things. People say silly things like this, like, oh, prove to me, white to, dude, get the fuck out of here. Like, everyone praises Danaher, for example, but he's never even done that. And that's okay. He doesn't need to be. That's not what we need to do. I mean, no elite level athlete anywhere starts with one coach and ends with the same coach in any sport. You know what I mean? The elementary school PE teacher is not the same as the people that are going to train them in the major leagues. So this is a straw man they're setting up to validate whatever they're saying. And most of these people in the season play haven't done anything. They've never coached. They're not elite themselves, or they never become elite. I mean, they're not even in the conversation. They're in the YouTube comments of somebody else's work. What a joke.
Wazowski one gave you a compliment, I think.
I get a compliment?
Yeah, he said this type of mentality will end up transforming jiu-jitsu. Oh, wait, sorry, this isn't a compliment.
Never mind. Let's go with the negative. Let's go.
Oh, shit. I thought he was going to say you're going to transform jiu-jitsu, but he said this type of mentality will end up transforming jiu-jitsu into some BS. That people are forgetting the history, the tradition, and the samurai mentality. I don't even think we know this one. I don't know if we need to respond.
God.
To that,
There's something magical about comment sections. It's like all the losers just like get around and they like group up. It's amazing.
I know.
Like you never see a greater loser than in a comment section. You know, because they losers can't play in the real game. They can't play in the real world. You know what I mean? Because they have to actually expose themselves and show what they're really about. The samurai mentality. What the fuck does this loser know what the samurai is? Have you ever stood in front of a person with a 6-foot blade and said, "Hey, we're about to fight"? None of us have. So calm down, buddy. Calm down. You have no idea what you're talking about. We say, based on the rigors of feudal Japan.
Right.
Fucking loser. No, but I don't even know what that means. Like, what mentality? What mentality? You know?
Willing to kill yourself if you make an error.
At QWERTY8139 says, I know a couple of folks who started their BJJ journey at Standard. It sounded like they had a rough go and they eventually left for other academies that were more technically focused.
Who are these people? These are regular people walking in off the street that are uneducated in any process as it relates to behavior. So it's fine. And it's actually healthy that if they came here and they tried the way we're doing things, they didn't like it, that they did go somewhere else. Not every school is meant for everybody. Not every method is meant for anybody. But there are reasons as to why, based on their supposed understanding of what makes behavior emerge, are irrelevant. But again, if they didn't like the experience, good, man. I'm glad they went somewhere else.
So this one's kind of interesting. Richard Panini 971 says, reminds me of the whole Arnold high volume versus Mike Mentzer low volume argument. Both are effective in different ways.
I don't know. I don't know enough about that and I don't know what, hypertrophy training has to do with skill training. I think they're different things. All I know is that skill is sensitive to frequency and volume. So if we want to build skill, we have to train frequently and to a high enough volume that an effect is had. So to what degree, it changes room to room, moment to moment, individual to individual. But yeah, I don't know.
I think he might have been getting at he might be saying, I don't want to put words in his mouth, that IP and eco, or the constraints-led approach, both work. But
when we say work, what do we really mean? There are effects to the way we do things. So there are effects to high volume training. There are effects to low volume training. There are effects that are had. And I think it's important that we know what these might be so that we can decide which method we want to use. Now, I think the issue is with us in our sport, and specific to skill, is relative to the complexity of the skill. So it is known that in complex and continuous games, the same methods that we use to build skill are different than if we're playing, let's say, a discrete game or a discrete skill. They're different.
Yeah, a lot of these comments, I think probably because I titled the video, "Did Deandre Corbe prove you don't need to drill?"
Yeah.
Most of the comments are saying that Deandre, of course, was drilling like before he got here and all that kind of stuff.
Well, no, so ask that question because I think we should put that on camera because that's an interesting thing. So to say that Deandre drilled before he came here doesn't mean anything. So are you saying that the effects of drilling are permanent? Is that what you're saying? Like that the things he drilled in the gi back when he was 14 years old affected him now? Do the things we do transfer that far? Dude, if I had you do a cardiovascular program for 6 weeks, have you not do it for 10 years, then come try it again, do you think you would still have that same capacity? Like, do you think skill works that same way? We're not talking about riding a bike here. We're talking about grappling against some of the toughest individuals in our sport. So what they're saying is that, essentially, is that the effects that drilling had on Deandre early in his career with the gi on are lasting and are actually what allows him to reach the level he's at now. So ignoring all the training he's done in the last 3 or 4 years. Like, what? What are you saying, man? If drilling was that effective, damn, where are all the people that only drill 10 years ago or that are still producing the same outcomes that they're producing now? It's not a thing, man. Mm-hmm. People are drawing these strange lines based on their own ignorance.
I think that answers probably like 60% of the comments. So this one comment says, I don't care. So part of the comment says, I don't care for the talented young kids who are amazing athletes. I'm not doubting this guy, but I judge a good coach by how good he can make someone who isn't athletic and sucks. So there was another coach I talked to out of Idaho named Chris Hendricks, and he had a juvenile, I think he's maybe 16 now, who I think only been training like 9 months, and he just got his blue belt, and then he put him in a super fight up against an adult blue belt, and his student was able to get this sub on the adult blue belt. He's been doing the constraints-led approach for him since day one. And the pushback there that he gets is that the kid would be a phenom regardless of...
But why? Why are they saying that? And why does it matter if then this... Dude, the guy has a young kid, gives him a specific training program, the kid has success. Why is that a problem? Why do we have to say it could have been done another way? Or it's just because, it's just because, it's just because. All these people in the comments section seem to know everything about everything. They seem to know all the mysteries that we are trying to uncover. We don't know. You know, we're assuming that there are some things to be true that we've learned about the world, and we're trying to enact those to the best of our ability as coaches to try to produce great students and give them great opportunities to be successful and to be good learners. But these people in the comments section, damn, man, I want to hire you motherfuckers. Like, Jesus. Oh my God, make my life a lot easier. Do less reading, you know, less studying, less trial and error. So if any of y'all, you know, you want to hit me up, my phone number's on the website. I'd love for you to teach me how to really do things. That'd be great.
Open invite.
Yeah, but that's such a silly thing. But you know, let's just step back there a little bit. I sort of agree with that idea that a good coach can be defined based on and relative to the change they produce in the athlete. I actually agree with that point. John Wooden said that even some of his best performing players in his career were his greatest failures as a coach. And that's interesting. And I really feel that sentiment because it's the weakest of us. It's the most awkward of us. It's the ones who struggle the most, who I think need us the most. There are some athletes that are just, you know, press play buttons. You know what I mean? Press play and they just perform. And those are the easiest for coaches. Not all the time because they do come with their own problems. But I hear that sentiment. And I guess the thing I disagree there is assuming that Dee and Gavin are those types of students. And it really diminishes the amount of work that they've put in and the amount of work that was put into them by not only their previous coaches, but also me. So,
yeah, that's the sense I got is that people are really minimizing the work that Dee and you and everybody is like doing. It's like, none of it exists now because of everything that happened in the past. It's like, well, okay, now are you just ignoring all of Deandre's work? Like,
yeah,
like that.
Because they only see the highlight on the internet. Yeah. They only read the clickbaity title. Their world is that surface. Their comments are that surface. There's no depth to these individuals making these statements. They are the internet manifest in human form. Like, you guys are just you're as big of a joke as the clickbaity title you're bitching about.
Another one on a pretty similar lines. Of course, these guys can do this. They already learned all the important techniques, so they already know what to do. So.
What does that even mean?
Yeah. For what it's worth, I'm picking out all the ones that are pushing back, but you are getting compliments in the comment sections.
Oh, I don't mind. I know what the comment section looks like.
Yeah.
We spent some time there.
At Cubicle Gangster asks, technically Corbe taught himself everything.
Yeah.
Taught everything to himself. He had no coach. He is his own coach. He doesn't even need to watch jiu-jitsu. His body figures it out for himself. I don't know the last part of that necessarily, but yeah. What do you think about that?
I think I see the sentiment, and I actually believe that. I think that all learning is self-learning. I think the role of a coach is a guide. My job is to create a culture, create an environment, create learning opportunities that my students can manipulate or they can use, you know? And I think a good coach does that well and a bad coach doesn't. There are things that I've learned about jiu-jitsu, about the learning process, about grappling that I share with my students either through explicit instruction or information or just discussion, but also the way I design practice. So I think that me coming before them creates a platform from which they can excel. And that's what I see my role as. I'm not this dictator who gives them all the information and all the knowledge they need to know. Again, it's all self-learning based on the environment and culture and practices I create.
Yeah. It's very evident too in how you run practice because you set it up in such a way where people do have to discover everything, right? You're literally not saying do this, do this, do this.
For sure.
So that's not only reflected in the way that the training is happening, but then also like you as a coach, like I think you said it very well, like you're setting up the platform for people to like discover things, right?
For sure. I mean, 'cause that's what I really feel like my role is.
Right.